Sometimes working in the entertainment industry can feel like you're running and running and running on a hamster wheel, and there are no breaks. But today's guest talks about how some of her biggest lessons came from just simply staying still. Erika Bennett has worked at some of the biggest companies in the world, like YouTube, Instagram, and Essence. And now she runs her own marketing collective called the Conscious Culture Collective. We get into how she's redefining success on her own terms, why busyness doesn't always equal impact, and the power of slowing down to move forward. So let's get into it. Erika Bennett, thank you so much for being on Cultivated Conversations. This is a long time coming. I've been courting you to come on, and I'm just so grateful that you could be here with us.
Thank you. I'm grateful to be here. And yeah, I'm excited we finally got to do this.
I know.
After many discussions.
You are such a force. You're such a badass. I think you're an inspiration. I think the way that you carry yourself, the types of work that you do, the types of clients that you take on, like, I'm excited to dig in, and I'm excited that you're down to dig in with me. But before we go, let's talk about how we met, because I always think it's fun to sort of set it up.
Shout out our friend Claudine.
Yeah.
Our homie from Instagram, who is equally a badass.
She's such a
so
she needs
cool.
to come on. And do
she
the show.
does.
Yeah.
Okay, this is my official plug.
Yeah.
Claudine, you gotta come. She's got really great water. The set is amazing.
There you go. There you go. She's sold.
Yeah. I think it was a top secret Jimmy Kimmel project we're working on, and we really needed someone with your expertise and chops, and it ended up not going through, but I was just so impressed from day one with how well you know the landscape and how not only how deeply you understand talent, but how to leverage talent to tell stories. That's what we were really ultimately kind of trying to do. And so it didn't work out with Instagram, unfortunately. But fortunately for us, our paths would cross again on an incredible project.
And to be honest, from that little project, we actually started working across so many things at Instagram and Meta overall. And then we got to work together pretty recently. I get a random email from you that's like, hey, we have this thing. It's 24 hours from now, basically. Can you help? And I'm like, all right, girl, let's do it.
Yeah. And isn't that always the way it happens in the entertainment industry?
Yeah.
It's
hurry up and wait.
Hurry up and wait. And then we've got 12 hours to make it happen.
Yeah. But we did.
We did. Yeah. And it was just such an incredible project.
The project was called Number One on a Call Sheet. Yeah. And ironically, and I don't even think you knew this, I was the one who booked all the talent on the doc.
No.
For 3 years I was working on it. And then you had specifically reached out for these events that they were doing.
Right,
and I'm like, actually, I'm very familiar with this project.
So that is God, the universe, all working
it's
together.
All of it.
It's amazing.
Yeah, and it was so kismet.
When I looked around the room at the LA premiere, for example, and just saw that room so packed with so many luminaries from the community, I was like, wow, Jen, we did 24 hours and everyone from Megan Good to Morris Chestnut to Mara Brock-Akil all in this room together. So it was really, really, really a good time.
It was great. Let's talk a little bit about your career story. Global head of entertainment, education, and community creator marketing, plus the global head of social marketing at YouTube, the chief marketing officer at Essence, the global lead of culture and community at Instagram, and now you run your own company, Conscious Culture Collective. I mean, wow, what a career journey, right? And I'd love to just hear a little bit of your take on that journey, and how did you get to where you are now? What led you to build your own thing?
Yeah, I mean, to understand my journey and where I've been, we actually got to go back to elementary school, Erika. And really my sister, who's also Jen.
Love that. I didn't know that.
We've always loved to tell stories and make up games and make up stories about this. And I remember going to the library with my girlfriends and photocopying plays and then doing plays in our garage for the neighborhood. Mm-hmm. So this idea of play and story is just deeply embedded in our DNA and how we grew up. And as I went through high school and did, everything, the musical theater, the this, the that. I was actually the high school mascot at one point. I mean, just nutty, weird kid.
You're a performer.
So funny. But when I got to senior year of high school and I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do, it was this interesting renaissance happening in the film and television industry. We had this incredible run of Black shows in Living Color and Martin and Girlfriend, all these amazing shows. And all of a sudden, we had like 2. And I was like, I want to go to film school because I love storytelling, but because it is so important for me to make sure that what we see on television reflects the world that we live in. And right now, we're not seeing that. I went to film school, which, you know, your parents are always like, what is that? So tacked on a business degree because for the parents.
Yeah, sure.
And then, you know, I graduated and I thought casting was it. I thought casting was going to be the way in.
Yep.
What I realized is that I needed to be a little bit more creative. I wanted to do that work and I wanted the end result, but I had to figure out a different way to get there. Casting wasn't for me. So I don't know. I was like, maybe I'll try PR. Maybe I'll try comm. So I did PR for a decade and I worked on all these brands. And 10 years, almost to the day, I went back and looked at the contract the other day because I knew we were going to talk. I signed a contract to work at an entertainment agency that worked with studios and networks. So my vision from 18, then graduating at 22, by the 10 years later, I signed the contract to head up their multicultural marketing division or department for studios and networks. Yeah. So Sony Pictures, Fox, Disney, Hulu. So took 10 years of me like, you know, I'm going to sling Nestle products or I'm going to sling video games to get me back to the storytelling that I love so much. And again, I firmly believe like everything happens for a reason and all in the time it's supposed to happen. And so I feel like I had to take that 10-year journey to get back to that storytelling piece. And for the next 5 years were just incredible. I worked on every major film or television show you could think of between about 2012 and 2017, all of the Kevin Hart movies. Remember that was the Kevin Hart Renaissance.
Oh, yeah, gosh, yeah.
You know, there was like...
That was pre-Heartbeat days, though, I think, right?
Yeah, pre-Heartbeat.
I think that sort of like is what led to Heartbeat
My
happening.
first thing that I ever did with that company was Let Me Explain. His big kind of coming out, like... comedy special that went global and just killed it, and then you saw him in everything. But also working on incredible films like Hidden Figures and telling the stories again of women who were behind and in front of the movement in terms of pushing our world forward. So it was just an incredible journey. But the rule on my team was always you could not, like multicultural marketing as a separate function. The ultimate goal is to have it embedded and have it just be a part of marketing, right? Our world is multicultural.
Correct.
So why would we have a separate team for it versus just integrate it fully into what we do every day to reach like all the consumers? Everybody. Versus one. Yeah. So I had to follow my own advice and kick myself off the team. And I went to YouTube because I still believe, and the data shows, that YouTube is the network of the future. It is the most watched streamer on TV. It is, you know, and this next generation has no concept of linear in its traditional sense. No. They're like, I'm going to watch this show. I'm going to watch Love Island here. And then I'm going to go on YouTube and watch this podcast. So I really wanted to learn that. I worked on YouTube TV and YouTube originals of Cobra Kai and did a lot of sports stuff. But where I really fell in love with the work was working with creators. They're just badasses. They're so cool. And everything from like FarmTube and BookTube to, you know, really big, massive creators. Yeah.
Did you intersect with Nadine over there?
Yeah. We did the BookTube pilot together. Okay.
Shout out Nadine.
Nadine.
I'm dying to have her come on the pod as well. But I work with Nadine and Laurel. They're at Pinterest.
Yes.
Yeah. They're
half the YouTube team is over there now. You've got Malik Ducard, who's incredible.
And Rosanna's over there.
Yeah. So we did the BookTube pilot together. That's how we got really close. Okay. And our first guest was Michelle Obama and her first book. And we brought a bunch of booktubers in and had like literally a book club.
I remember it well. And Lauren Vraz, I think, was a part of that. Yeah. I did Dear Class of 2020 was my first project. Yes. And then we did like almost all the YouTube original stuffs with the exception of
amazing.
BookTube. And
Jen, I had no idea.
we literally our worlds, we were like just kind of dancing alongside each other this whole time.
Right.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the thing is the world is so small. When you are a good person and you're creative, you're like magnets to those same people, right? They all sort of show up again in your life.
Yeah.
And I love that.
It's
the best.
I think everything happens for a reason. I think God brings us together at the right time when it's supposed to happen. And that's, we opened with the magic that happens with 24 hours to make something. So, I feel very blessed for all of the people I met along the journey. And it's so fun. We're like shouting at our girls.
I know. Yeah.
So then, I spent quite a few years at Google and it was time to make a change, and Instagram called. I took a job there for about a year helping to lead culture marketing. And then I got a call from Essence. And, every little girl grows up with Essence magazine in their house. I remember when I first talked to the chairman of the company, I sent him a photo of my coffee table. And it's like Essence magazines from years past, some of whom I put people in or on the cover for in my heyday with originals marketing, and some are just issues that are incredibly inspiring and special to me, right? Who is saying no to that job?
Right.
It was just, we were coming out of the era of like everyone must spend with Black, and I wanted to make sure our cultural luminaries remained here and not only just survived but thrived. And so going to Essence for that year and a half was a very special time in my career, and I'm immensely grateful. But along the road, we talked about our bodies sort of telling us.
Yeah. Before we started recording a bit, we did. We talked about how we just have tendency to go. It could be midnight. If you don't answer the call, someone else is going to.
Correct.
Right?
Well, we actually developed technology that made it easier to access everybody. Like, we created actual tools where we could have that 24/7 access. And so it just did a number on me. What I didn't share was that in 2019, I was in a terrible car crash. I was home for 6 months, had to learn how to walk, had multiple surgeries, all the things. And so I was already inside when we all went inside.
Yeah.
But I think the recovery from that, coupled with the trauma of COVID, coupled with the trauma of a racial reckoning in this country, took its toll. And when I look back at the time from Google to Instagram to then Essence, there was no break. There was no real time to take a pause. Yeah. And it impacted how I showed up, not only at work, but with my family, with my friends. I think I had a very warped sense of like what mattered and what was important. Even though I started to do some work while I was at Essence, leaving Essence, while it was an incredibly hard time, was the real kind of kick in the pants to get still.
In the moment, I imagine it was probably very hard, right?
Very hard.
And then a lot of times those moments, those hardest moments, it takes years to look back and think, wow, I'm actually grateful for that experience and that moment, right? Because it turned me into who I am today, or there's a reason that I do X, Y, Z today. Or,
I grew up in an achievement household. Yeah, I'll be honest, right? I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to tack on the business degree, to make the marriage happen. But
easy,
But the reality is, and this isn't a knock at my parents who are amazing, I was rewarded for what I could do. Great grades brought reward. Great leadership brought reward. So there were all of these opportunities to achieve and be rewarded. And so the stillness when you don't have a job, when you're recovering from a terrible injury and can't move, that forced stillness actually was the catalyst for me to say, okay, well, who am I when I can't do all this achieving, when I'm not in the spotlight of having this fancy job and who am I? And what actually matters to me?
It's actually so beautiful. Like I think about it a lot. I mean, as a fellow overachiever, right? I mean, I think that was my whole life too. It was just, you had to be the best. You had to do all the things, top of the class and bop, bop, beep, boop, 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 right? Some people will say, well, how do you do it? It's like, well, what do you mean? Like, that's just who I am. That's just what I do.
Right. I don't know if you did this, but I would take offense to people being like, you're such a perfectionist. You're such an overachiever.
You're like, what do you mean? Like, no, like, yeah.
Right? I just felt like as a woman, as a Black woman, I always had to show up 10 times better than everyone just to be like on the same
I get that
level.
I do. I mean, not as a Black woman, obviously, if you didn't know. But no, I do. I get that. I think for me, it was like, I had some crazy childhood stuff. And my mom actually passed away from suicide when I was 13. So but I think similarly, it was like I was always fighting up against this thing of like, I don't ever want anyone to be like, oh, well, her mom died. So like, it's fine. You know what I mean? I never wanted anyone to give me an excuse. Oh, like it's an excuse because you're a woman or because you're a Black woman or because your mom died. You know, it's like I always wanted to just be the best that I could so that there was none of that to exist, or so that I was there with everyone else. So you're in this moment of pause and reflection and redefining who you are is what it sounds like, like in the most beautiful way. And so did you just, get a website and like what was sort of, you know what I mean? Like, what was that process like?
You know what? I went into full on like, what just happened? We need a financial plan. We need I was still doing.
You were,
And my therapist goes, I know that like, yes, you need to pay the mortgage and all the things, but what would it feel like to just give yourself a few weeks to just go outside and read or not wake up to an alarm? Like live this life of ease, like just, come back and tell me what you learned, And so I did it, I was like, okay, I'm going to start walking and I'm not going to set an alarm and and of course my body was still waking up at 3-4 in the morning, ready to go. Like what's happening? So getting it out of that, but it was a good reset. And I think there were a few things I learned. One is that I learned how important rest really is. And that sounds so simple and so basic, but I was really attached to busyness and really attached to doing a lot as a means for avoiding what I was really feeling. Anxiety is actually a really good tell for us. It's a really good signal.
Yeah.
But I was like, I don't want to feel anxious. So I'm just going to
keep being busy so you don't have time to feel it. I can relate. Thoughts will come in my head where I want to sometimes, process something. And then I just sort of, I don't have time for that right now. And I know that's not healthy, right? I know it's not.
Listen, I also acknowledge the immense privilege that comes with being able to say,
sure,
I gave myself time because some people don't have time. Yeah. But I'm thankful that I worked as I did when I did to save and have that cushion so that I could just reconnect with who I am. And I realized I actually really love hanging out with my family.
Yeah.
I like my house. I like being at home, hanging out with my dog. I love to walk. I live in a great neighborhood. Showing up better for myself and others became the top thing on the priority list, not career. And the more I sat still, the further down career became on the list of like, what I consider successful. I'm sure you have all the alerts with the Apple.
No, so I had an Aura ring for a hot sec, and then I had to get rid of it because I was like, I am not sleeping enough. This is like, it's making me feel more tired.
It totally drags you. It drags you for filth. Like literally my Apple Watch will be like, hey girl,
get up and walk around.
10,000 steps last week. This week it's not that.
Yeah.
And then you're like,
it judges you. I felt like I was being judged.
Yeah. So I remember though, like I would check my average sleep. When I left Essence, my average hours of sleep a night was 3 hours and 45 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
Not a badge of honor.
Not sustainable at all.
Not sustainable. No. And I remember the day it hit like 7 hours a night. And that feeling like the win.
You're probably on a whole new person.
You do feel like a whole new person. Yeah. You do. So, I'm still me. I'm still gregarious. I still care about the things that I care about. but the order in which I care about them totally changed for me.
Yeah.
Totally changed.
That's such a unique perspective in our industry too. It's so refreshing. I think you need to be a life coach to entertainment and media industry professionals. No, but truly, I mean, so many industries are this way, but I think especially the entertainment, it really is like, okay, what is next? What are your awards? What are your honors? How available are you? Can you get on the phone right now? Like, there's just so much of that urgency when there isn't necessarily urgency. And there's a manager, shout out Mark Gervitz, who said this thing to me many years ago, and I feel like it's such a good little quote. Poor planning on your part does not constitute an emergency on mine.
Correct.
Right?
Correct. And listen, I love all my clients dearly, and I'm immensely grateful, but I do think there's something to be said for specifically the entertainment industry and what we deem as important and what we deem as urgent. And one of the things I appreciate, I have one client who does a couple things. One is this client will sit down with me and tell me the 3 things he cares about the most. Mm-hmm. It's just such a relief to have, okay, these are the 3 things we're working towards, and everything else is cherries on top. And I think we don't do enough radical prioritization. Yeah. We just try to throw everything up on the wall like spaghetti and execute versus how can we take this film and do 4 really special things.
Yeah.
Does this one random interview in XYZ city really matter, or should we get on the plane a little earlier so everybody can get home to their families? Like, it's sort of thinking through and being really clear about what matters.
Yeah. And so talk to us a little bit about what you do at your company, right? And sort of what day in and day out and how you service your clients and what does that look like?
I really fell into entrepreneurship. If you would have told me I would have my own company and that we've been paying the bills for over 2 years now. I was a corporate girly through and through. I like my checks every 2 weeks. I like my health insurance. I don't want to have to hire extra people.
Sure.
But what entrepreneurship has done is given me choice. And it has forced me to dream a little bit. The way this economy is going, I don't know if I'm going back to work whether I want to or not.
Yeah, sure.
But so I'm like, all right, I got to pay the bills, but I want to do it on my own terms. It gave me permission to dream. I sat down and I was like, who do I want to work with? What do I want to be doing?
Yeah.
And I just sort of made lists. And some of those clients have come through, but I think the giving yourself the permission to dream a little bit more as an entrepreneur and then, putting the work behind it to go after it. Like, I actually didn't end up with a lot of the things on the list, but the things I ended up with were bigger than I could have ever imagined.
But you're only 2 years in. Like, it's all about planting seeds. And some of those seeds, they grow in a month or 6 months. Some of them, it's 6-7 years.
Yeah.
I could speak that from experience, And you constantly need to go back and water those seeds every once in a while.
Exactly. I think just even the openness was the signal that you could send me something that I probably wouldn't have thought I was good for or right for.
Yep.
And it turns out to be the job of my dreams. So I signed a couple agency clients, but then the first big client I signed was the Biden Harris Waltz
incredible
campaign, which was just beyond. When you look back at my career, it's a little all over the place, like tech and entertainment and and creators. But this was really the confluence of everything I loved in one role. It was working with creators. It was creating content. It was working with Black-owned publishers, storytelling, making sure that people really understood what was at stake in this election.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, it's incredible. I mean, that's the thing, though, is like I always talk about it as like your toolbox, right? And even for young people, right? They think, oh man, but this isn't my dream job. You never know.
Oh.
I really believe that the universe or God or whatever it is, right? It's those opportunities are presented to you for a reason.
Yeah.
And there's a skill or a tool that you're going to gain from that that will be applicable down the road, and you just don't know. But trust it, because it does come to fruition. Because had you not had all of those varying experiences, well, one, you may not have gotten that, but two,
I wouldn't know what to do with
Correct.
it when I got it.
Yeah.
There's a story I like to tell a lot of my interns because, when I first started in PR, nothing was online.
Yeah.
You couldn't go into like Cision or go into a database or IMDb and find out who repped who or what this reporter at this outlet was. It was a giant book called Bacon's.
Yep.
And you had to go and search for the reporter, and then you had to manually create a spreadsheet. You had to send them your pitches, and you could only there was a time frame that they were on deadline, so you couldn't contact them then. And I remember being in a meeting. I was an intern, but I was responsible for doing all the clip books. And they were like, those big thick books. With like every single PR hit and like, again,
cut them out with scissors.
Yes.
Yep.
And you had to paste them
onto the paper.
And then you had to scan them to make them a book. And I had to go to Kinko's at like 2 in the morning before our client presentation next day. Anyway, I was like, what the heck? I have a degree from Northwestern. I mean? Like very,
and I'm cutting out magazines.
Self-centered, millennial, and here I am cutting clips in a clip book.
Yeah.
With all this education, making like, I don't know, $500 a week or whatever the thing was.
Yep.
But when I tell you my research skills, my sleuthing skills, my problem-solving skills, resourcefulness, my work ethic all came from being an intern and an assistant in the entertainment industry before there was like the internet, like having to keep the call sheet and roll the calls and not drop the all those things. Highly stressful. And I'm really glad that assistants now have many more tools. But the thing that for me, like instead of being bitter about what I was doing, I started to just be like, okay, I'm going to absorb all the writers that are writing about, one of our clients was Hilton Hotels. And I remember being in a meeting with Hilton one day and going, well, I've been reading up all the coverage and this is like the theme. And here's how we could pitch this. And that was like my first big thing that I got to pitch.
There you go.
And land in like the USA Today because
you were the one who was paying attention to all that.
So it's not all in vain, Like you really do learn what you need to learn. So I know it's hard not to come out of school and make $200,000 a year, but
I know every class that graduates, I think there's just there's more and more anxiousness to just go because there's also so many more opportunities. I mean, high school kids are starting businesses now.
Yeah,
like
they are.
You know what I mean? It's just I think the hustle starts younger because there's just the instruments and tools to do it. So there's this drive and energy, which I love so much, as you just said. And I think also there's this blending of all these different assets and industries. And I think when you and I were first coming up, it's like, yes, there was PR and this is what it did, right?
Yes.
There were agents and they did this.
Right.
Marketing was probably more like advertising. You know? So talk to us a little bit about how some of those markets have shifted, right? And what does the future look like? You know, I mean, not that you have a glass ball, but
for one thing, the way that consumers consume is very different.
Yeah.
It's heavy social, it's heavy streaming, it's heavy digital, I should say.
Yeah.
It's snackable. Our attention spans for content that we're consuming, specifically in digital spaces, is much smaller. And I think one of my clients is a major media company. And so we talk a lot and are working through how do we evolve the way we deliver information? How do we still build community around that information? How do we remain responsible and authoritative with the information? But how can it be delivered in a way that is meeting people where they are? And I think a lot of the big biggies in the entertainment industry, if they don't start figuring that out soon. Like, I don't know, I can't tell you the last time I sat down and watched an episode of The Nightly Show, but I will tell you, I feel like I watch it every day because I watch the clips. Jon Stewart giving an incredible monologue about this issue. I walk away feeling just as endeared to the show, but I'm maybe not like going to the linear channel every night.
Yeah.
And so I think that's going to be the big challenge for media and entertainment is how do we meet consumers where they are? If I had a crystal ball, I would say we need to pay more attention to creators, my favorite people. They are at the forefront of formats. We're seeing the trend now of people watching YouTube on their screens. They're aging up a little bit. And then you've got the next generations behind them that are on TikTok. So I think creators are a very interesting case study for how to entertain.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and from the talent side too, right?
Podcasts.
I work with production companies all the time, and every single one of them is like, oh, we're going to start doing content for YouTube and with creators. Whereas like 2 years ago, they were like,
we would never. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Like, oh,
that little internet
creators.
thing.
Yeah. So I do, to
Totally.
your point, I think people are paying attention. I don't think they need to anymore. I think they are. And I think they're all paying attention at the same time, which kind of scares me because it's just like everyone's like, gimme, right?
Yeah.
But anyways, continue.
But I do think as we pay attention, we not only have to pay attention to the who, which are the creators, but the what, which is what kinds of content, whether that's straight to camera, podcast, whatever, and then the how. Like those formats don't have to be a traditional. And so I think the media companies that are thinking about the who, how, and what together are going to be the ones that win.
Yeah, I agree.
And not trying to necessarily dictate what the creators make, but rather just create pathways for them to continue to grow and proliferate. Yeah. They already know what they're doing, clearly.
Yeah, they do. Well, and a lot of them don't even need the networks. You know, they're building their own studios. Like they, you know, that's the thing that's a bit scary on the big, you know, network side. You know, if I had $1 for every time someone that I speak to is like, oh, like times are hard. Times are hard. Layoffs are happening everywhere. There's just a lot of shaking up. And I think that it's hard for some people to stay motivated. And I think that you just have to forward think in these times.
Absolutely.
Because these are actually the times when the biggest opportunities happen. And that's what I keep reminding everyone, right? These are actually like the 100%. Most exciting times.
I wouldn't say it's like a good time, a great time to be an entrepreneur, but I think it's an interesting time to be an entrepreneur. I think it's an interesting time to figure out what's my unique value proposition?
Yeah.
What can I offer that is big and scaled, but maybe doesn't require the industry to have a whole team around it. Maybe I can become the team, or maybe I can become the thought partner, or maybe I can. And that's actually been my approach is like, as I've watched certain parts of the industry sort of shrink,
you're like,
where can I add value? And so people ask me all the time, like, how do you prospect? You know, what does your new business pipeline look like? It's not like Salesforce. You know what I mean? And I love Salesforce. I have one of my best friends works there. But it's not so formulaic.
No.
It is really relationship driven.
100%.
And it all comes from a place of where I can add value. And that's the number one question I ask, either myself or my clients. And then the last thing I'm just going to plug is like everyone needs to start getting trained on AI.
I'm sure you feel in our industry, there's the people that are all in, that are just nerds about it, that know everything. There's the people where I sit, and I think the majority that are sort of like, okay, I dabble in ChatGPT. I know a few of these other things, but I haven't spent the time to be trained in it. And then there's this group over here that are like, hell no, AI. Like that shit's going to take all of my secrets and, you know, sell them to the government, or, you know, I mean, there's almost this like conspiracy.
In the Hollywood industry, right? I led a panel at a conference, and there were a lot of women that were in the industry. And the number one thing I heard is that these large language models are training on our clients' IP. It is a huge issue. It is a huge fear. And because of that, we're going to we don't touch AI. And my push is, yes, we have to figure out the ethics and the legal part of it.
Yeah.
But this is proliferating at such a rate.
I know.
That as women and as entrepreneurs, what's going to happen is you're going to have a huge digital divide between those that really understand it and can use it and those that can't. And so, yes, I grapple with who's training these models.
Yeah.
Is it a bunch of just one singular type of person?
Yeah, sure.
I grapple with the ethics and the legality of it.
Yeah.
And I also grapple with the impact on the earth and vulnerable communities. But I also have found ways that it can be incredibly useful, not only in my business, incredibly useful in helping me scale to like serve more people as a solopreneur.
You're gonna have to give me some of these tricks.
There's a lot, and it's interesting. You can go into the settings and read what it knows about you or what it thinks about you. And there's just other tools that are being brought into the mix that can make videos for you, that can make content for you, where you can actually replicate yourself. It's not great at the moment, but it's going to get there soon, where literally you can, do something that's straight to camera and it's an AI avatar of you.
Wild.
Yeah. So there's just so much. And I think, how much you choose to use it is still kind of your game, but I think the industry needs to figure out how to work with it and not around it, because it's coming whether we want to do it, want it to or not.
Well, and I think that the industry is so big that it really is impossible to keep up with how fast AI is developing. And I think that's what the issue is, right? And I think that's why, even with the strikes, the writers' strikes, and actor strike, but writer strike in particular, because they were just like, whoa, what the heck is this? This is impacting us and will change our lives forever. But it all, it was like a year, it was so fast.
Well, it felt so fast. It's interesting. Some of my friends at Google, as I was doing research on AI, similar to like VoIP, voice over IP, which is like, voicemail and all of that sort of stuff. And the foundation for like conference call that had been around forever before it like rose. AI has been around for like 20 years, and it's just now like popping. And so, but agree with you, like, again, we've got to just really sort through what are the ethical and legal challenges.
And that will not move quick. And that's the thing that scares, I don't know if scares me, there's no way that the legal and ethical things will be sorted quick enough
with how fast it's growing.
That's what it's like.
It's such a tension.
It's such a tension, and I think that's the biggest problem.
Well, and even the artists, right? Like my sister is a makeup artist, and she's like, I don't want to be replaced by a technology that could literally, you could shoot this thing no makeup and then add it later. I'm out of a job, you know what I mean? Or the flip is she does do artistry and then they replicate it elsewhere, and she's not compensated or not even aware. So I do think there's some tension that has to just be figured out.
There is, What is one piece of advice that you would give to someone who wants to build a career that's both successful and deeply purposeful?
Oh, what I have found is that I have grown the most and received the most when I am the quietest, when I am the stillest. We talked about this earlier, but I think busyness does not always equal impact. So my advice would be to get still, so that, one, you can define on your own terms what success means. And then no one can take that away from you, by the way. And no one can say you're not successful
because
that's not your own definition. And then I think the stillness helps you continue to discover who you are and what matters to you, and that's purpose. Purpose could be doing things with animals. Purpose could be, like, I did not think I was an animal lover, got a dog, obsessed. I was like, listen, if I win the lotto. And suddenly I was like, I may not tell you, but there will be signs. Like if I just show up one day and I have a ranch for dogs and I pick them up on the school bus like that, that TikTok account, maybe I won the lotto.
Totally. I'm like, that's like my dream, to just have a farm with like all the animals and,
So I think the stillness helped me define success and define purpose for myself. I'm always going to be successful because I'm always going to be prioritizing the things that I think are important. And I'm always going to be working in my purpose because I'm clear on who I am and what matters to me and the world around me, my community. So that's my biggest advice is, get still.
Slow clap for that one. Wow. No, I'm so moved. I'm like, damn, I need to slow down. I need to take some stillness,
Come, Jen. We'll
can I join your still?
Yeah.
Can I join?
Still with me. On the couch.
Just sit on the couch. Yeah. I used to, before I had kids, I think I had a lot more stillness. And I used to do this thing that I called a Jen day. And it was like, I would spend a Saturday, I would not get out of my pajamas. Sometimes I didn't even like wash my face or brush my teeth. Do not judge me. Like I just was. Yeah. And, sometimes I'd sit outside. Sometimes I'd lay on the couch and watch TV all day. And I miss that, just sort of the nothingness, the connecting with just whatever you're feeling, And yeah, I mean, kids is like a whole other layer.
Gosh. I know I'm speaking as like a dog mom and nothing else.
Finding that is very hard, but I think you just have to work a little bit harder to find the stillness because you actually have to like, okay, I'm going to go do a staycation tonight because like otherwise I can't be still. Yeah.
You know what? Start with like one day a week. I'm going to go to bed at 9. What does that look like?
I know. It'll be like
terrifying.
Yeah.
That was 9. Ugh,
yeah.
Terrifying.
Yeah.
I'm like committed to being as productive as possible during my workday.
Oh, yeah,
and you know what? When we were doing our project together, that was a no sleep time. But coming off that, I'm like, okay, I can't go to another no sleep time. I'm going to give myself, So if I have to make some sacrifices over here, that's what I have to do, whether that's not go to the thing or not go to the trip or not go to the birthday or whatever. Yeah. So there are ebbs and flows. It's not a perfect thing, but I just had to start with one night a week. I was like, one night a week like Monday through Friday has to be a 9:00 night.
Yeah.
And the thought of that was like, what?
Yeah, I love that.
What?
I love that. Okay. Well,
I'm
gonna
call you.
Yeah, call me at 9:01 if I don't answer. I'm asleep. I love closing the show with talking about joy. Sometimes we forget about joy because we get so caught up in the busy and the this and the that and the to-do list, right? So how do you cultivate joy in your life or an unexpected place that you're finding joy?
I guess my joy is not this big, grand thing of like doing this massive thing. It's just an amalgamation of all these little joy points throughout the day. And I think it's reflecting on that and being like, oh, this is a good life. This is a good, juicy life. So I cultivate joy in little baby steps throughout the day, whether that's like 15 minutes of a dance party with my dog or a 20-minute walk, splurging on a concert that I swear I can't afford, but then go and have the best time of my life.
Worth every penny.
Or taking the trip. Travel for me has always just reminded me that like, oh my gosh, the things we care about, but the world does not care about. Like they truly do not care about what's happening in LA.
Yep.
Spending time with my family. Like my mom and I are going to Costco tomorrow.
Oh my God, that sounds like the perfect Saturday.
Yeah, we're getting all the necessities and the unnecessary necessities.
Absolutely.
Like
you don't even know what you're getting, but it is going to be
Costco, talk to us. Yes. So, but that's like a little thing that I'm really excited
looking forward to.
Yeah.
I love that.
So to me, like cultivating joy is just about all those little moments. It's not necessarily, it can be a big grand thing, but for me, it never is.
Yeah.
And then it's always the reflect back of like, oh my gosh, today was really good. Like my friend came over and we sat out and had lemonade or I did this, or I'm taking my mom to Costco tomorrow. I'm just like eat samples and buy unnecessary dips or whatever.
Yep,
like,
totally. Yeah, let me know. Let me know if I need to run myself to Costco this weekend
Jen,
as well.
I'll send you some highlights.
Because it is cyclical there, so sometimes you go and it's banger after banger. But
that's the thing. Yeah. You have to be like, you're like, they got the workout gear.
I know
what you're talking about.
Like, oh, I didn't know I needed this, but
I definitely do. It's coming home with me. Thank you.
Yes, of course I need 36 pairs of socks. Yes, absolutely. Oh, well, thank you. So tell where can we find you on the socials? How do we keep up with all the amazing things you're doing?
Thank you. I have to get better about promoting it all, but on socials you can find me on at Erika ErikaJ Bennett, so Erika J Bennett on Instagram, Threads, all of the platforms. LinkedIn, you can find me there. And we're still working on the website. I got busy with work with clients and never built out the website, but you can, the other places you can find me there. So
great.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for doing that. I mean, you are
so fun.
You're amazing. I mean, I knew that you were amazing, but I'm just leaving
too.
this conversation I feel easier in the heart or something. Like thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you all for joining us for another episode of Cultivated Conversations. We want to hear from you, so please send us an email, say hi at Cultivated ENT, and don't forget to follow us at Cultivated Entertainment on all the platforms and all the things. Until next time.